Coach, let's get your overall impressions of what you saw from your returning players first before we talk about the rookies and the way you saw them in more competitive situations, especially here with these last few scrimmages.
You know, when you come in cold like this, and from the player's perspective, mine as well, there's I guess it's like walking into a dark room. You're not sure what to expect, until you turn on the lights. And what a great opportunity for me to get the lights turned on for both myself and the players. In terms of what we're going to do, I thought our veterans, they came in, they worked hard. It was a tough camp. There was 5 ice times in 3.5 days, and they tried to do the things we talked about in the one practice we had. They were vocal on the bench, bringing the young players along. And then I think the most important part is they had some great competition between them, and they were chirping each other, and it tells me a lot about, one, the camaraderie, but two, how tight they are, and that they want to do well, because when you have that in-house competition, that leads to bigger and better things.
Is it possible to talk about how some of these veterans matched up to your expectations coming into this camp, or did you try to come in without expectations as to what those returning players were going to give you?
Well, one of the things I didn't do was watch video or spend a lot of time talking about where players were or where they finished. I wanted to give everyone a clean slate, give them an opportunity to perform. And then I just wanted to watch them interact with their teammates, watch them interact with their kids, and try to get a feel for what kind of character they are. Sometimes kids, they go the wrong direction. There's a lot of factors that contribute to that. So it was important for me that they understood that we started fresh Friday. And so in terms of expectation, it's not fair. Now I have expectation as we head to camp, because they understand what I expect every single day. And our commitment as a coaching staff between Ryan and myself and our goaltending coaches is we're prepared to do whatever we need to do to give them their opportunity to get to the next level. In return, they need to be taking care of themselves on and off the ice. They need to be in a mental frame of mind every single day to come and compete, and not only make themselves better, to make our club an elite plus club.
What about for some of these younger players, some of whom have been in the system with the Oil Barons for a couple of years and are coming to, not their first camp, and some for whom it's their introduction to the franchise, perhaps some through your connections they've become acclimatized with this franchise. Is it possible to sort of give general thoughts on how they impressed you?
Well, a lot of those kids they've got to really relearn the game. They've played midget, and they're the stars, and they play half the game, and they're coached by their coach, and they're coached by their parents. And what they got to understand is we're going to reteach them everything. So it's fun to watch them, because they're just calves on the floor, but slipping and sliding around. But we've got some real good raw talent. Our scouts did a terrific job of identifying and showing the program as they have in the past, and I certainly spoke of that. And we're really excited just to get a smaller group to main camp and start working on our identity and who we are as a team.
And Coach, obviously it wasn't an absolutely enormous group here for summer camp, but as you mentioned, as you do start to pare down that roster, do you expect to make many moves with the veteran core? Is it more about deciding who from this camp you're going to invite back, or is it a bit too early to say, considering how much time you do have before we get to that August camp?
Well, we had 44, so we want to pare down to 34 so for main camp. Get after it right away, show our fans what we have in the gold blue game, and and then from there you're going to lose some guys to Western League camps, and then of course we want to get into exhibition games. So there's not a lot of moves. We did have some younger players, 16-year-olds, that we wanted to just basically show them what we are all about. And then in terms of our veteran players and where they sit and fit, that's yet to be determined until we have an opportunity to get them in an exhibition game competing against the other side.
When you do get to that stage, inviting these guys back to main camp and putting them into game situations, what are the biggest points you've spoken to them about, or that are in the back of your mind, that you want to see differently? You've mentioned things that have impressed you off the top here, but what differences do you want to see when we start getting to crunch time and guys do really need to earn their spots?
Well, for the young players, they're not going to go back and learn anything new. It's fresh. I think for our older guys, it's just understand that there's going to be a fitness level. They're players in the league. So then they need to understand there's going to be attention to detail. So it's just come back with the right attitude, come back understanding the standard of the pace we want to play at in terms of how the practice went and the weekend, and we'll do the rest.
Has the summer and development camp process evolved or changed at all in your time in the coaching game, or are there simple ways of handling these sorts of situations that really don't go away?
Kids are kids, and the easy thing to do is to tear kids down, to tear anything down, right? Like really, we don't even need skilled workers, and we could probably take a run at this bus behind us and rip it apart. So what we've got to do is, camps are camps. You bring in kids, you catch them doing things right, and you make sure they leave here understanding that it's July 4th. We're not picking a team today. It's about understanding what's involved to make the team. So not a real big difference from anything I've been part of. And, the biggest thing is getting your head around who everybody is and trying to make a little bit of contact with every player.
And Coach, what about from the staff perspective, the way this fairly large staff was able to coalesce, having all your scouts here, having folks that you brought in yourself through your own connections, and people who obviously have longer lasting associations with this franchise? How has that sort of coalesced, and how did your meetings with the staff overall as a group go this weekend?
Well, from the very beginning, I've said that this game's about people. And there's a myriad of teams within the giant organization, and one of those teams is our scouting staff and our scouting team. And I believe in good people, and I believe in surround yourself with good people. And the two gentlemen that I brought in from Saskatchewan and from Colorado are, they're quality guys. And in my opinion, I would say it was seamless, and we were able to bond and have a lot of fun together because. Kids recognize when there's strife at the top, and what we want to make sure is we have an environment where people can say what they need to say. We can have some healthy conversation about where our young players are at, where our club is at, and in the end it makes us all better. So I was really excited in a short little time we had together that we were able to really establish who we are as an organization, the kind of game that I want to see us play, and that type of player that we want to see our guys go after.